Greetings and welcome. This is Rajiv Makni on the Cell Guru Show. I'm so happy to be with you this week because I've got such great stories to share with you. We've got the Poco F4 5G, nice all-rounder from Poco, performance-first phone, packs in some good features for a modern-day smartphone. But at this price point, can it outdo the competition? Then we'll move on to our very famous Qualcomm segment, how smartphones helped girls in rural India actually help achieve their dreams. Then a very important story, something that I've been wanting to explore for a long time. We'll speak to Mahima Paul, Head of Public Policy APAC at Bumble, to talk about the stand for safety initiatives that Bumble actually takes. What are their broader efforts to raise awareness around digital safety? So, like I said, it's an absolutely fantastic show. Let's get started. Our top story today is the Poco F4 5G. So this is a very interesting phone because look, it's got most of the things going for it. 6.67-inch display, 13 nits of peak brightness, so a nice bright screen, 64 megapixel triple rear camera, the Snapdragon 870 processor, 4500 mAh battery, 65 watt fast charging. So like I said, very interesting phone, seems to have it all. But like I also said right in the beginning, the competition is really gearing up. Is this good enough to take on the competition?
Poco's legacy was built on class-leading performance at cutthroat prices. The Poco F4, Poco's latest, does not bend that trend. It is exactly what you expect from Poco: blazing performance, performant cameras, and a high-quality display with a sprinkling of value. But consumer expectations are sky high. Can the Poco F4 live up to its legacy and outdo the competition? Let's find out. The Poco F4 is a modern-looking smartphone through and through. The build is substantial with an eye on ergonomics, which is to say that the phone is comfortable enough to hold all day long. The curved edges further help ensure that the phone fits snug in your palm. The nebula green color we have on hand for our review is particularly fetching with subtle green tones, chic profile. What's not so fetching is the fact that the back is a dust and fingerprint magnet. Keep those cleaning cloths handy. We are also not a huge fan of the elongated camera module, which houses multiple cameras and a big flash. It's just a bit too jarring. Elsewhere, the front of the phone is predictable with its large 6.67-inch Full HD Plus display. Xiaomi and by extension Poco does well here, and the panel manages to hit peak brightness levels of 1300 nits. Yes, it's perfectly visible even under the blazing Delhi sunlight. The panel is of course 120Hz capable, but that's no longer a standout feature in this segment. Performance of course lies at the heart of the Poco F4, and the Qualcomm Snapdragon 870 impresses by striking an almost perfect balance between speed and efficiency. There's obviously no lag during day-to-day tasks, but the phone powers through multitasking and high-end games with ease as well. The phone will be available in 6, 8 or 12GB RAM variants. We think the 8GB RAM version strikes a great balance. The phone houses a 4500 mAh battery that will last you almost an entire day. 60 watt charging isn't best in class, but it is still more than fast enough. It takes under half an hour to completely charge the phone. The cameras punch above their weight too. The triple camera combo includes a 64 megapixel primary lens, 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera and a 2 megapixel macro lens. Of these, the primary camera impresses the most with well-balanced shots, tight exposure control and ample detail across lighting conditions. The ultra-wide camera doesn't impress quite as much with the limited detail on offer and less than stellar exposure control. The 2 megapixel macro camera might as well not be present, and we wish Poco would adopt the higher resolution Telemark assembly from Xiaomi's phones. Price starting 27,999 rupees, the Poco F4 is a solid, if not tepid, comeback to the market. It's got all the features buyers expect, even if it doesn't really push the envelope in terms of innovation. The phone earns a recommendation from us on the back of being a solid and reliable performer, which is yet another tentpole feature of Poco devices.
And now let's move on to our very famous Qualcomm segment, and we're going to talk today about the great rural and urban divide. Less than half the Indian population has access to the internet, and the Digital Empowerment Foundation is helping reduce that. What a story we are bringing to you today. Now, the rise of the internet has been phenomenal, especially in the post-pandemic world. 658 million, that is the number of internet users in India as of January 2022. And Everyone seems to be online. But there is still a huge digital divide between urban and rural India. The digital penetration in India stands at about 45%. That is less than half the Indian population that has access to the internet. Despite all this rise in technology and all our excitement, digital illiteracy is at an all-time high in rural India, especially among women. Now, improving digital literacy and expanding access to digital technologies is critical to take India forward and to enable women from all walks of life to benefit from digital transformation. The Digital Empowerment Foundation is an NGO that has helped bring about that change. With their various campaigns and initiatives, they are bringing digital literacy and familiarity to the rural and tribal women of India. Today I'm going to tell you about one such campaign. This is called Go Online as Leaders, a digital literacy and mentorship initiative that seeks to mobilize urban women who hold expertise in their respective domains to inspire, guide and encourage rural and tribal girls to become digitally enabled agents of change for their communities. This campaign has given women from all ages the courage to break the barriers of tradition and enable girls to gain exposure and access to digital tools and learn about its use and the latest technology innovations that are happening around the world. Today we meet a very special person, 21-year-old Neha Salina from Ranchi, who enrolled for the program and is now enabling other girls and women from her village to inculcate entrepreneur skills in them.
Their heads might be covered and their hands might feel heavy with the weight of the bangles. But it is their eyes that twinkle with curiosity to learn something new. The girls of Itki, Ranchi have not only learned how to use smartphones and computers, they now dream to be entrepreneurs. The effect of the lockdown were felt in these parts of the village as well. Girls were restricted to their homes because of lack of smartphones and internet connection. They couldn't complete their studies. These girls felt the absence of smartphones and the impact it had on their future. Meet Neha Salina. Residing in a small village in Ranchi's Itki district, Neha would help her mother with household chores after school. In 2020, when Neha met with a representative of the Digital Empowerment Foundation, her life took a turn for the better. With the help of the foundation, she learned how to use smartphones and computers.
मैं मैट्रिक के बाद कुछ भी नहीं जानती थी, जैसे कि मतलब कि घर के कामों में ही जुड़ी हुई रहती थी और बाहर के कामों में उतना इंटरेस्ट नहीं रहता था कि अपना लाइफ में क्या चीज़ मुझे अचीव करना चाहिए था वो चीज़ नहीं पता था। और तराना मैम के थ्रू जब वो मुझे बताई कि वो डीएफ में जुड़ना चाहती है या नहीं, तो मैंने हाँ बोली। और मम्मी पापा ने हमेशा मुझे यही बोला कि पढ़ते रहो आगे और पढ़ाई करो, कभी मुझे इग्नोर नहीं किए, मतलब कि हर चीज़ में मेरा साथ दिए हैं।
Tarana, the representative of the Digital Empowerment Foundation institution, who is responsible for driving the program, says that the girls of the village understood the importance of smartphones and computers. These girls know that without smartphones and computers, they will be left behind by the rest of the world.
घर में गांव में मेरी जो कुछ लड़कियां ऐसी थी जो मैट्रिक के बाद इंटर के बाद घर में रहती थी, उन लोगों को मैं घर पर लाके कंप्यूटर क्लास, डिजिटल क्लास, मोबाइल सिखाना और उसमें जितनी भी सुविधाएं हैं ऑनलाइन की, डिजिटल लिटरेसी की सारी सुविधाएं इन लोग को दी। इन लोगों को डिजिटल के बारे में बताया, ऑनलाइन फॉर्म कैसे भरा जाता है, कैसे चेक किया जाता है, ये सब चीज़ मैं इन लोगों को बताई।
The girls and women from nearby villages come to Itki to learn how to use smartphones and computers from Neha. She is running a digital center where she is helping empower women. This has been possible because of the Digital Empowerment Foundation. These women who never left the village alone are now breaking barriers by becoming independent. Equipped with a smartphone, the world is now their oyster. Goal or Going Online as Leaders is an initiative by the Digital Empowerment Foundation that has helped women like Neha to become digitally savvy. It is a mentorship program where women who are leaders in their fields take online classes and inspire these women.
2019 में एक स्कीम आया था गोल मेंटी FB गोल ग्रुप करके, जिसमें 10 लड़कियों का चयन किया गया था। उन लोगों को मेंटी का नाम दिया गया था। उन लड़कियों को 2 ग्रुप में बांटा गया था और उसकी 2 मेंटर थी, एक रूपाली शर्मा, एक श्रद्धा सूद। वो उन लोगों को मोबाइल के माध्यम से दिल्ली से इन लोगों से कनेक्ट करती थी और वो ग्रुप के माध्यम से बात करती थी।
ऑनलाइन क्लासेस होती थी जिसमें मैम हम लोगों को ऑर्गेनाइटिव, कोलैबोरेशन, लीडरशिप, सोशल जैसे कि पढ़ाई से रिलेटेड बहुत कुछ सीखे हैं और बहुत चीज़ के बारे में बताती थी। और जैसे कि कोई भी एक्टिविटी देती थी जिसमें हम उसे करते थे और हम लोगों को लीड करने का मौका मिलता था, दूसरों को प्रोत्साहन करने का मौका मिलता था। और लोगों को यही सिखाना चाहती हूँ कि जिस तरह मैं आगे बढ़ रही हूँ वैसी तरह वो भी आगे बढ़े।
सर, यहाँ पे मैं DEF के थ्रू पढ़ाई करती हूँ और हम लोग यहाँ डिजिटल एजुकेशन प्राप्त करती हूँ और जिसके थ्रू हम लोग को इतना डिजिटल के बारे में पता नहीं था। वो मोबाइल के द्वारा हम लोग ऑनलाइन शॉपिंग करना सीखे हैं, ऑनलाइन टीचिंग करना सीखे हैं। हम लोग हर लड़की अपने में मजबूत हुए हैं और हम लोग को बोलने में झिझकते थे कहीं पर, वो अब नहीं है। अब हम लोग में इतना कॉन्फिडेंस आ गया है कि हम लोग हर चीज़ को खुद से कर सकते हैं, मोबाइल के थ्रू कर सकते हैं। हम लोग को किसी पे आश्रित होने का ज़रूरत नहीं है।
Neha is now an entrepreneur and runs a digital center in her village where she helps her community with all their bank work, paperwork and pensions. She is doing all this through her smartphone and tablet.
DF के थ्रू सूचना पिन्योर में भी मुझे काम करने का मौका मिल रहा है। सर, जैसे कि बहुत सारे लोग आते हैं, उसमें परेशानी रहती है कि उनको सरकारी स्कीम के थ्रू किसी को वृद्धा पेंशन, विधवा पेंशन और इंदिरा आवास सब जैसे कि बहुत ऐसे लोग होते हैं जो गरीबी से जूझ रहे हैं। बहुत से ऐसे बुज़ुर्ग हैं ऐसे जिसे वृद्धा पेंशन की ज़रूरत हो, विधवा पेंशन की या इंदिरा आवास सबकी ज़रूरत हो, तो उसका फॉर्म हम लोग भर देते हैं जिससे कि उन लोगों को सुविधा हो और हेल्प करते हैं इतना कि वो लोगों तक ये पहुंच जाए। ये सब सारे स्मार्टफोन के थ्रू ही किया जाता है। और जैसे कि कोई कंप्यूटर सीखना चाहता है तो हम यहाँ कंप्यूटर क्लास भी है जिसमें हम लोग कंप्यूटर सिखा भी देते हैं। और स्मार्टफोन के ही जरिए मैं सारा कुछ अपना जितना भी रहता है पढ़ाई से रिलेटेड अगर या कुछ भी रहता है वो चीज़ सब कुछ कर लेती हूँ और दूसरों को भी सिखाती हूँ।
स्मार्टफोन आदमी के जीवन के लिए बहुत उपयोगी है। जिस तरह से हम लोगों को खाना पीना कपड़ा की ज़रूरत है, उस तरह से अभी स्मार्टफोन की भी ज़रूरत है, क्योंकि अभी के हिसाब से बिना स्मार्टफोन के जीवन अधूरी है मेरे हिसाब से, क्योंकि हम हर कुछ उसी से कर सकते हैं। चाहे हमको दुकान का सामान लेना हो, चाहे हमको कपड़ा खरीदना हो, चाहे हमको तोलमोल भाव पता करना हो कि बाज़ार की क्या स्थिति है, न्यूज़ देखना हो, तो अभी हमको ना टीवी का ज़रूरत है ना ही हमको पेपर का ज़रूरत है। वो सारा चीज़ हमको स्मार्टफोन से मिल सकता है।
Without smartphones and digital literacy, these girls felt that they had no future. Today, they are confident women who are no longer dependent on others for their survival. With a smartphone in hand, they are out to achieve their dreams and break every barrier that comes their way. With camera person Vicky, Haribansh Sharma for NDTV.
What an absolutely great story, and now I have the privilege to actually speak with her. Thank you so much, Neha, for joining me on the show. तो नेहा, आपने कहाँ से learn किया about this program और आपने क्यों सोचा why should you be part of it?
सब पहले तो मैट्रिक के बाद कुछ काम नहीं था, घर के सिवाय कुछ काम नहीं था। इस वजह से जब तराना मैम बोली कि अगर जुड़ना चाहेगी तो जुड़ सकती है, तो इसी वजह से कोई काम नहीं वजह से मैं वहाँ जुड़ी। उसके बाद फिर जुड़ने के बाद हमारा ऑनलाइन क्लासेस होने लगा। उसके बाद फिर मोबाइल स्मार्टफोन हम लोगों को मिला और कुछ भी मैम जैसे कि एक्टिविटी देती थी उसी के थ्रू हम लोग मोबाइल स्मार्टफोन से ही किया करते थे।
Now, Snapdragon is calling all the Cell Guru fans to join their global community called Snapdragon Insiders. This gives you access to the latest scoop on Snapdragon tech, a chance to connect with the experts behind the scenes, premium experiences, exclusive contests, and much, much more. Look, I'm already a Snapdragon Insider. You can become one too by simply following Snapdragon on Twitter or Instagram. Their handle is right in front of you. Also, give yourself a chance to win a Snapdragon smartphone by participating in the NDTV Snapdragon contest at ndtv.com/unleash your dreams. Go there and actually unleash your dreams. Let's take a quick break right now and we come back. Lots more happening on the Cell Guru Show. And I promised you a very, very important story. I'm going to talk to Mahima Paul, Head of Public Policy APAC at Bumble, really find out about safety initiatives in the entire ecosystem. Mahima, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, Mahima, great to have you here. Let's start off. So what are some of the online dating trends we're seeing post the pandemic? Things changed dramatically, right?
One of the obvious answers is a platform like Bumble had the ability to do video chats even before the pandemic hit. And so those kind of features were used really heavily, right? Because people had to adopt to being able to speak to each other online and not in person. But there is also a shift in the way people approach dating, which is, I think, what you're more interested in. So, a term that we're crafting called the resetters. What we found actually is that now about 75% of our community on Bumble, they want to kind of reprioritize, who they're looking for, and they want to find partners who are more emotionally available. Another term, what we're calling explorer dating, is this is not to say that people are getting more serious or less serious, but they're open to exploring what their type is, which we saw a little bit even in the non-dating world, is people are looking to do more hobbies as hobby dates and acquiring more skills together. And that's a really nice interactive way of dating together while doing something interesting and new.
Mahima, that's really fascinating to know. But all this increased access also brings with it inherent issues like harassment, abuse, discrimination. What kind of statistics have you observed and what steps does Bumble take to tackle these issues?
Now for Bumble being, obviously a female first brand, something that enables women and empowers women, safety has been a priority from day one. And so obviously, we make sure that we don't tolerate any hate, any aggression and bullying. And, in order to enable that, you need to have a couple of things in place. So 5 quick examples so that people understand what does it take to enable safety on the platform. The first starts with your community guidelines. They need to be, you need to set the standard of what kind of speech is allowed on the platform. So your community guidelines actually spells that out. Now, how does the average user then help Bumble enforce those community guidelines? So through your journey in the app, you have places where you can actually block users, or you can block and report users. You can tell Bumble something happened to me, or I've come across a profile of someone who I think you might want to review. The third thing that you can do for your community is you come up with resourcing. So you'll have a safety and wellness center, or like the campaign that we are doing currently, you come up with these handbooks so that women are able to actually, women and of course other community members are able to first identify, right, that I am actually undergoing abuse. This is something that's happening to me if they are not able to. And then they have redressal mechanisms about where to take it. One is on the app, but the other is maybe you want to go offline, you want to find the police. Then you come up with different, you look at the community you're catering to. So in India, I'll give you an example, India specific example. We actually have the ability only in India that women can choose the first initial of their name in their profile. And they only need to give more information about themselves once they are comfortable and once they're willing to do so. So we have this AI-driven private detector, which actually does, come across potential lewd photos and they actually blur it so women don't have to see those pictures.
So you're doing a lot, but yet you have an initiative called Bumble's Stand for Safety Initiative. How does that fit into Bumble's broader efforts to raise awareness around digital safety?
See, Rajiv, you and I both know that online safety has been a topic for years, right? And the thing is that you always come back year after year and hear about people yet again tell you how unsafe the internet is, especially for women and minorities.
True.
Bumble's campaign, Stand for Safety, is back in its second year. We partnered with great institutions like the Center for Social Research and also Nyaya to produce a handbook that actually is very informative and is full of resources.
So Mahima, so much that you're doing, but what kind of resources are actually available to educate users about all this stuff? What are legal rights in case of an untoward incident? What kind of support does Bumble offer victims of online abuse?
The education of users is something online which has been an evolution. If you look at the early days, Rajiv, even yourself, of social media apps and apps for interaction, it was relegated to like either you're online or you're offline, right? And like the user is either using the app or the user has been taken off the app. Slowly there was an understanding that not everyone knows how to be online and what's the etiquette online. So you had educational bits and pieces. So the user is told you went wrong here, you violated a policy, and it's a chance to actually get educated. We have partnered with an NGO called Cheyenne, which is basically a survivor-led nonprofit. And they have a program called Bloom that Bumble is now partnering with. And this actually addresses gender-based violence. And how does it do that? It creates intersectional resources online. It's basically complementary trauma services for those who may have experienced sexual assault online or offline. So this is really a very comprehensive program that we put together for our community in order to enable them to help process something unfortunate, that may have happened to them, talking to experts about it.
Mahima, it was fantastic speaking with you. I'm so glad that Bumble seems to take this so seriously. You guys are actually walking the talk on digital safety. That then was the Cell Guru Show for this week. As always, we've got great stuff lined up for you next week. See you then.